Okay, what's up, everybody? This is Eric, and welcome to another ECM Vision Studio painting session. Today, we're going to be working on these works on paper. So basically, what I have done is I made some prints of my painting called Awkward Assimilation. And I took those prints and put them on these pieces of paper. And then I went in with white paint and I blocked out portions of the painting that I found to be interesting, just to create like new relationships on the page. So what I'm going to do tonight is pick one of these and I'm going to work on top of it to kind of do like a remix of the painting. So this one looks pretty cool. Let's work with this one. So thanks for joining me. All right, let's get into it. So I don't have any plan of what I'm going to go for with this tonight. This is kind of a new territory for me. And that's not correct. Using a pen here. Okay. This is an India Ink Quality marker pen. So I'm just going to kind of get into it like I usually do. Just start making some marks and kind of see what happens from there. And this is a really good exercise in digging deeper into your imagery and not being afraid to maybe go back and edit what you've already done. Because I think the painting itself is interesting, but I always find that when I go back and document my work and I'm taking detail shots, I always kind of wish that I would have seen maybe that detail shot while I was working on it and kind of like made that more of the subject matter of the painting. So this is a good way to kind of investigate your work and reimagine it. And especially if it's an older work, you can update it and kind of have a dialogue with yourself, past, present, and future. So I'm just going in and doing some drawing, trying to incorporate a little bit more drawing, mixing drawing with painting together. This is a technique that I generally do in my sketchbook, and I want to start translating the sketchbook methods into more finished work style to keeps it loose. I think my favorite part about sketchbooking is the looseness, the freedom, the not as much fear to make mistakes. So we've got this little tunnel, hidden tunnel here. We've got this shaka here. And just kind of gonna go into it. So I'm streaming on both YouTube and Facebook tonight for the first time. Thanks for joining if I'm missing you. And trying to get it together with a little bit more technology and mixing art and technology. And by that, I mean setting up a streaming capability and going live a little bit more to let people in on the process. So I'm just going to go in and really just make some marks on the page and not worry too much about what I'm doing. Because really all we have to go with is this hand and this little tunnel. I mean, I already know what the original painting was, but I mean, that was like a few years ago. So I'm not really working necessarily from the same place. So it'll be interesting to see how everything that I've done since then might play into these. Well, I can already say number one is that I'm working primarily in grayscale series. I think that's a good way. So far, what I've discovered with it, it's the first time that I've really put this much kind of like restraint into my practice, is sometimes putting constraint or structure into what you do opens up more than you might think. So it allows me to kind of investigate my basic painting techniques, like, relearning values, and with a limited palette, and you want to, if you're trying to get like a depth field, or you want one thing to stand out over the other, it can be really challenging. And so it's been a really good challenge to do that. So I'm just kind of putting in all these playful marks around. Don't want to get too precious with it either. That's another thing. Actually, I want to get into the ink. So let's get into the ink. This has been a fun thing for me to do. It creates really cool textures. Just to do ink washing. Let's see what happens here. Working from the home studio tonight.
Hello, everybody.
So I got the little dog here and Marisol.
You're so cute. It's like you're like the modern day Bob Ross. Are they pretty? Are they pretty clouds? I'm making pretty clouds. You really need to use an adjective and then what you're painting. Colorful adjective.
So got some nice textures. The ink is really great because of the, it creates like automatic layers in a way. And if you really just let loose with it, it'll create more areas of buildup, and then there's nice thin areas. And I like to draw with it quite a bit. So you can get some nice drawing going with it. Trying to loosen up the painting a lot more these days. Get kind of a palm tree going on here. the palette knife out, get some big strokes in there. I naturally go towards landscape. In my head, I think before I start, I have this desire to just go straight into like an abstract. But then once I get going, I can't help myself. So, but I think abstraction would be a really another kind of form of restriction or structure to give myself. And to just see, because I so naturally go towards landscape, and then now I've been doing a lot of figuration. So I think in the future, I see abstraction in my future. So let's see how that goes. But I like to let the work itself out and have patience with the practice and let things come as they need to come. I feel that way about the color. I made a conscious effort to cut back on the color, but it's not a hard set rule. It'll come back when it needs to come back, and it has already sort of in some other works I've been doing. So as much as practice is maybe about developing and progressing in your technique, it's also in how you approach things. And for me, patience is a big thing. And I don't think patience is necessarily about making calm work. I think it's about how you approach it, in that you're letting the work do its thing a little bit more, in letting yourself get out of the way. So it's like a ego check. And this is all very idealistic talk, and it takes a lot of time. And so that's just a part of my practice, and it's ongoing, and it's a part of everything I do. And I'm basically learning how to be patient. Just it's a learning process. Because I think naturally I'm an impulsive kind of painter, and I prefer to just go off the top of my head nonstop, spontaneously. But it's good to go in with a plan sometimes. Like this was a nice little plan. This is just enough structure to kind of give a grounding for the beginning, and then we can kind of let wild a little bit. Actually, what I want to be doing in this part, see, I learn as I go, learn as I do, actually. I'm that type of learner, which means I got to make like 1,000 million mistakes before, I really learn anything.
That's profound. That's very profound.
So it takes me a while. And that's where the patience comes in. It's, learning what you're understanding, being aware of what your learning style is, and not comparing yourself to other people, and accepting how you learn. And if you're like me, I got to do it. And if I'm not doing it, I'm not learning it. And then it takes time to do it, to then learn it. But I know that if I try to go against that, I'm never happy. I never learn nearly as much or get to as authentic of a place that I would if trying to go against that. So there we go. This is what I wanted. So I'm working with acrylic and the India ink. Just some nice loose gestural strokes to give kind of a feel of some tropical plant life here. I can already feel myself skirting around the like original print that's on there. And it's all about decision making, because I could just paint over these two very simple elements and then, I don't know, have I destroyed the concept here? You know? My impulsive side is just go for it. But we'll see what happens. For joining me live. Thanks for watching. Really developing some plant life here, giving it a setting, an environment to tell, I guess, a story. I've been thinking a little bit about originality and versus interpretation of well-known like visual language. So kind of, you know, thinking about modernism and its strive for originality to unfold and to rediscover new visual language and new visual techniques and to get away from the past. But I've been thinking more about how much of a curse that can kind of be, and that there's a lot of pleasure and discovery in like not necessarily reinterpreting, but reinvestigating. So like something like this palm tree, it's such a like ubiquitous visual sign of tropics and paradise, and it has so much loaded meaning to it, so that when you use it, it really brings up a lot for people. but I kind of think about it in terms of like blues music. So the blues, is based off of a certain like chord structure, and if you listen to the blues, it's like the musicians all are doing their own interpretation off of this very simple chord structure. But they do it, it can all sound just very similar in some sense. Like the basic structure of it isn't necessarily original, but it's the base structure that they're working with that they then use to put out an authentic voice that is the most original thing that is never able to be replicated. So I think how that translates into painting, maybe something like I've been thinking about still lifes a lot, and if I can ever get myself to sit down and be more disciplined about doing, if I can ever get disciplined to do the still life, say with any kind of dedication, I think there could be a lot of cool discovery in seeing how you could paint it. So, and although it's such an old form and can kind of be seen as corny in some ways, there's so many different ways to do a still life. And again, this thought that I'm having, not original at all, but it's definitely something that's been on my mind. And it's also like one thing to know something and say, oh, yeah, that's definitely not an original thought, but it's another thing to use it in practice and see how that comes out for you. I kind of want to, because in the original painting, let's see if we can kind of recreate that a little bit. Let's see what happens. So the finger connects with it here. And this is my first time doing one of these, so knowing when to stop. Not sure where that is. Don't know where that line is. Guess we'll find out. If you're watching live, you have any comments, go ahead and drop me a little hello. I like what you're doing. Don't like what you're doing. Sorry, fixing my timeline. All right. I was setting everything up to do all the equipment to do the live streaming. And Marisol says, you look like Inspector Gadget. Definitely a fan of Inspector Gadget. If you don't know who Inspector Gadget is, definitely gotta look it up. All right, so we got a little scene happening here. And kind of unsure as to what to do with the hand here. And we'll do some drawing on top of it. So I got this pen quill I'm using with the ink. I used to do a lot of drawing with this. It's fun because it can be messy and unpredictable, but also you can get a lot of variety of lines. It looks less uniform than using like a, I don't know, like one of like a regular, like one of these things. So now I'm just kind of tracing. I'm not really feeling it. Kind of wish that I had left it, but let's see. I'm gonna give this hand a little bit of a I'm not sure what to say about it, but a little different dimension. Kind of accentuate these folded fingers here. So this is unbleached titanium. And then this is titanium. This is partly inspired. Marisol is also an artist. Marisol Damo. Her website is marisoladamo.com. You can check out some of her art. And she's been doing a lot of this printing of her own work and then going over top of it and drawing it and reinterpreting her own visual language that she's been building. And me, I kind of get not stuck, but I definitely get on like a track where I need to, again, kind of this cursive originality, like feeling that I need to be creating absolutely brand new steps forward in every single piece of work. So I kind of saw what she was doing with hers, and it goes back to the reinterpretation and redeveloping and looking at kind of like every angle, and it's like a pure investigation. I think with the hand here, I think what I'm doing is it looks so flat with the print, so I wanted to give it a little bit more energy with the brush stroke, a little bit more of a life within this scene here, kind of integrate it. In the original painting, I had these shave ices, the Infinity Shave Ice. I'm going to draw in some of that now. Some expressionistic marks in there. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, there we go. I haven't used this pen in quite a long time. Kind of forgot how to use it. There we go. I used to do really like tight, kind of abstract forms with this pen because you can get some really great detail with it. And I wasn't really using it to its fullest capacity of these, like a lot of these nice accidental marks you can get by being looser with it. And also, there's some texture on here. I don't know if you can really see it, but so when the pen runs over that texture, it gives you an unexpected direction. I think of Ralph Steadman when I think of using this in this kind of way. That guy was pretty wild with the pen and the ink. So I'm just kind of just dipping it in the little thing here, ink bottle. And just letting it go. I don't really want to get too into the symbolism of this. I've been more interested in, I've done the work to develop this language and kind of want it to breathe and let it go and let it be read the way it's going to be read. I don't know, trying to understand it, even for myself, I don't know if really is the best approach to it. It's more about, I want to rely more on gut and feeling and not overthinking too much concept. You definitely want to come to, when you use an image, to know some of its history if it's something that is recognizable. But learning to back off a little bit and letting it do its own thing. And, you have your own connection to it. That's why you're using it. But to not over suffocate it with too much of your own meaning with it. I hope that makes sense. I'm learning how to paint, draw, and talk at the same time. So this is this is definitely an experiment. I think I'm gonna, let's go this way. Create like a little structure here. So I'm just mixing up a darker shade to give us little tunnel structure, a little dimension. Okay. I remember as a kid learning to draw. Well, I drew a lot just on my own without any training. Just as a really young kid, watching cartoons and just trying to emulate what I was seeing. And then I think the guy's name was Commander Mark, and he did this cartoon drawing show on public access. And I actually learned a lot from him. And I think he must have done some lesson on perspective, because then when I learned it, I was drawing, like this, just drawing like a square and just obsessively drawing the perspective out and kind of drawing these little houses all the time. And every time I go and do this, that's what I think of, that like childlike fascination with with building that through line and stuff comes up. So memory plays a big part of the process here. Memory in terms of trying to remember maybe like what a three-dimensional object looks like. I really like that. I personally really like, I don't know, I guess I just, aside from, not in comparison to looking at something and trying to really nail it, I love interpretation and kind of being unclear about what I'm seeing and the imperfections. But dedicated realists, and that's mastery work for sure. I have a deep respect for it. And, to be able to have that skill, I think that's something, that would be another good structure, constrained project, to learn that, to then incorporate that into the work. That can be down the line. I think I got to learn patience before I can do something like that. So we got a happy little structure here of this tunnel. Where's this tunnel going? What do you think? As you can see, I keep painting over. I like to paint over what I do a lot. I think I just really love painting, so I could probably keep doing that just for an hour and have a lot of fun. Boring? Maybe, but it's fun for me. Give it a little ground around it, so it kind of feels like it's there, like it's sitting out in this tropical field here, and we've got these shave ices roaming around it. It's a auspicious scene here. We've got maybe this hand is like a person who's hiking, or maybe it's from an ancient time, and maybe this is like someone discovering the power of the shaka to connect with this auspicious little structure that we don't know anything about. But because we're being connected and using the shaka. The shaka in local culture here in Hawaii it's another form of, I think, showing aloha, and it's definitely a positive. When you're out in traffic and you're passing someone, you throw a shaka. It's just like saying like it's all good. I mean, it has like a million interpretations, but from my little Hali perspective here, it has a positive connotation to it, and so that's why I think that's why I like to use it. It's a very open. It's a very open thing to use to show that you're down with what's going on here. I think I'm going to have this hand give a little bit more definition, a little shadow here, and then I'm going to let it kind of disappear in the weeds. And we'll go in and just give that just a little bit of definition. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, something like that. Just so it's not looking so super flat. Give it some life. And because this dries pretty quickly, but it always looks different when it's dry. And generally what happens is, especially with the ink, it just ends up being a lot flatter than it looks when it's wet. Which is both awesome and a little disappointing if, I relied too much on what it looked like when it was wet. So get some more of these guys going over here. Gives some kind of like energy lines here. I think outlining should be used sparingly. It's so tempting to just outline everything. I think a painting teacher of mine kind of saw me doing it. He's like, are you really adding any value by just outlining? And, I guess if that's part of your intent, but it can definitely get you in a place of getting stuck because you don't know what else to do. So And we'll do one. Okay, I think that's a pretty good session. We got started on this new series tonight of reworking the awkward assimilation painting on these papers in the new grayscale style. So for everyone who joined, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of my work, you can go to ecmvisionstudio.com where I have original artwork, I have prints, and I even have apparel. You can buy t-shirts with my art on it. You can also check me out on Instagram at ECM_vision and sign up for my newsletter, and you can stay updated with, sales that I'm having and little process updates, and you can stay informed about these videos and see where all my work is, just join the art journey. So that's it. And thanks for watching, and have a good night or day.